Yo,
Yo,
what's
yo,
up?
yo, yo.
What's up?
Welcome everybody to the Prophecy Podcast.
Yep.
I'm your host, Obese the Prophet.
What
We
up?
have my cousin, co-host, Justin Martin.
You guys are
What up,
related?
what up, what up?
He's here. Yeah, that's my cousin. We've been listening to hip hop our whole lives, and today we got our first ever guest. That's Hero The
Yeah,
Emcee.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
I'm
up, dude?
the first guest.
Yeah, first
Nice.
guest.
Nice.
Yeah. So, let's jump into it. Basically, what we want to get from you is just like a introduction for anybody who wouldn't know you. Age, hometown, a little self story. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started.
Yeah. So I am Hero the MC. Used to go by Hero, but I changed that to help search results. I am a old school boom bap inspired artist from Roxbury, Massachusetts, which is a section of Boston for you uncultured folks. I fell in love with I fell in love with hip hop at a really young age when my mother took me to a Gangstar show, and ever since then, it's just kind of been a snowball of me listening to more and more hip hop, and the real lyrical side of hip hop really appealed to me, and everything I make has that bar for bar cut your throat mentality.
Yeah, for sure. Word. So how old are you now?
I'm 22.
22. Okay. And how long have you been doing it? Like making music and recording?
I've been probably writing hip hop since I was 10.
Okay.
I considered myself to be good at hip hop around 16 or so. That's when I started. I tried producing a little bit, and from producing, I think my brain sort of re-engineered rap to make me learn where to place words and shit.
Oh yeah, be in the pocket.
Yeah, because I had
Yeah.
zero flow and zero rhyme ability,
Mhm.
and it was just I learned how to produce a little bit, and from there I learned that every single instrument not only has a point to play in the beat, but a serious point to play in your flow and lyrics and where you drop specific words.
Right. Word placement within the beat is
Yep.
crucial.
And then for 3 years after that, around 2019, I had almost had my second album out, and I said to myself, I've only made music on SoundCloud. I have zero social media platforms, and I need to learn how to not only engage with people around me but people on the internet, because that's really the only way at this stage of existence that people are going to get anywhere is through the internet, which some people might not agree with, but it is a fantastic way, and it's made everything easily accessible for anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's flooded the market with people too, who good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely a huge oversaturation of people because it's just so easy to upload something to the internet.
Right. And nowadays you got your song from mastering straight to like being released to all streaming platforms in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? 2 weeks
Yeah.
you got your song out. So yeah, it's super easy and cheap too. A lot of these distribution companies are offering it free or near free or whatever. So yeah, it's really easy. But I'm just gonna say this: in a crowd of a lot of people, you stand out. You know what I mean? Because for your age, being that you're only 22, like if someone didn't know that, like, and they're just going to listen to your music, they would, I don't think, I mean, Justin, would you have placed him being only 22 years old? Like, just
hell no.
To his music? Yeah, exactly.
Hell no. Not with that boom bap shit you got. No. I would have thought you were way older than 22.
Right.
Yeah,
and you're just getting started as far as recording your albums too, you know what I mean? So I mean there's a lot more to come. You're gonna get even better, which is kind of scary because like I said, you're pretty good already. Right. Especially with the way that, like you were saying, the way that you flow on the beats is exactly how like you said, Gangstar, you grew up, it's obvious, it's easy to tell that you grew up listening to that. Yeah. DJ Premier is like something that, like, I feel like if you and DJ Premier made an album, that shit would be real dope. You know what I mean?
If me and DJ Premier made a fucking album, I could retire. Like not even an album, like a single. If I met the man, retired on the spot, I'm done. I don't need anything else.
You hear that, Premier? You hear that?
Yeah. Hear that? Right. I'm coming.
Word. So what about your name? How did the name Hero the MC come about?
Hero, contrary to belief, does not stand for anything. It's not a what's the word for it?
Acronym.
It's not an acronym.
Thank you, teacher.
I knew that shit. It's not an acronym, believe it or not. But I really knew I wanted to be a hip hop artist when I heard the song "Hero" by Nas off his Untitled album in 2009. It really inspired. It really inspired me and put the pieces together. And there's just something so special about that song that inspires me every time I listen to it. Adding the word "the MC" halfway through 2020 not only helped me with searchability, not only helped me obtain an identity, but the word rapper does not qualify what I'm about. I love performing. I put on a killer show. I throw shows myself, and looking up to people like Eric B and Rakim, how the duality between DJ and rapper, just moving the crowd. And I can't put it into words the amount of inspiration that Rakim has given me, not only in my hip hop career, but for giving me the idea of becoming Hero the MC.
Yeah, no, I can hear that in the influence there. Yeah, so breaking from that topic as far as introduction is concerned, we had some things happen this past week. Justin, I think we talked about some of the crazy weird stuff that had happened this week. We had I know something that stood out to me was there was a man who had a face and double hand transplant. First ever time that's been done. This guy was like 22 years old. He's from New Jersey, got in a car accident, got burned up real bad, and whatever. And next thing you know, he's got this face and double hand transplant. And then there was some other stories too out of Myanmar. Was it Myanmar?
Yeah, some shit's going on over there.
Yeah, what do we got happening over there?
Well, I don't know if you guys heard it, but it's been going on for about a week or so. They have an elected president over there. It's a woman, and she got overthrown by the military over there.
Right.
And I think this happened on like Monday or Tuesday. And since then, this military's come in. They've shut down pretty much access to Facebook in order to, quell people from trying to get together to protest and speak their minds and shit. Democracy is relatively young over there in the Southeast Asian countries.
Yeah.
So like this shit's crazy, and you don't hear about it.
Rights.
Yeah, you don't hear about it on our news channels. And you would think, United States is supposed to be this bastion of democracy and all that's good in the world, and nobody over here either knows about it or gives a shit about it.
Right.
Yeah,
they don't care. A little tiny country or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It is tragic. But when you look at where we're at and where we were just a couple months ago, it's almost like it could have happened here. We're lucky we have a country that's full of a lot of strong people who want to stand up for democracy, you know what I'm saying? So like that didn't really happen, but it came pretty close, and we got to be careful for that in the future. But all right, so I looked this up. The guy's name was Joe DeMio. He was 20 years old. He fell asleep at the wheel of his car on Route 22 in New Jersey, and he pulled the flames, and he burned almost 80% of his body.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy to me. Like I remember years and years ago, probably like 20 years ago, when they first started talking, like when they cloned that goat, remember? They started talking all the crazy stuff they could do about growing stuff in labs and all this other stuff. So like, I've been waiting for this for a long time. You figure, this was going to happen. It's just, I actually didn't think it would take this long for something like this to happen, but I'm kind of glad that it did, because it sets a good precedent, I think, for going forward.
What's that fucking Nicolas Cage movie, Face Off? When did that come out? That was like 95, right?
97, 98, yeah.
So this shit's been like, somebody must have been on like researching that shit since then,
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, how do I get somebody's face on somebody else's face?
Yeah,
1995. There you go, Lucifer.
Yeah, 1995. Okay, yeah, so that's a long time.
I thought that movie was a lot newer than it was. I was thinking more like mid 2000s, but that's a good movie.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent movie, especially for 95, man. It was a action-packed movie for sure.
Did you know that that was John Travolta, right?
Yes, and Nicolas Cage. Yep.
John Travolta and Nicolas Cage fucking hated each other during the whole filming of that movie. I don't know if you guys know that, but they couldn't fucking stand each other. So the fact that they hated each other in the movie is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, it was almost like they were able to play on that like their real life shit, and it made it that much better.
Yeah. Hey,
Word.
speaking of 95, oh, correction,
Speaking of
1997.
97.
So speaking of 1997, so this was back when me and Obese were, much younger. And
I wasn't even born.
so we grew up listening to Wu-Tang, and I don't know if you guys saw this in the news, but Wu-Tang got pulled into some fucking China-Canada beef over here for some T-shirts.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah, did you guys see that?
I think I did. I remember seeing something on.
So let me give you a rundown of what happened. So apparently, over at the Canadian embassy over in China, they had somebody. I don't know who, if it's an elected official, if it's an ambassador or whoever the hell. Mm-hmm. So somebody from Canada ordered some Wu-Tang T-shirts that said, instead of Wu-Tang, it was the Wu W with Wuhan. So when China caught wind of this, they were like, "What the fuck is that supposed to mean?" Because they thought it was a bat,
right,
with Wuhan on it, talking shit about coronavirus and all this stuff. So then they got all pissed off over over this T-shirt thing. And reading into this, there's a lot more to this story, but I just found that fucking hilarious that somebody's over in China just trying to get a Wu-Tang shirt.
Right,
and they're all bent out of shape over it.
Right, it's just a shirt. But yeah, that's how it is in China, though, right? They like to control absolutely everything that's coming out and has.
Yeah, well, they're real touchy over this coronavirus stuff too. So, any little thing.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, man, for sure. So yeah, Hero, what about like we already heard about your influences, Gang Starr. I think I heard Rakim in there and a lot of those old classic rappers and stuff. But during your first projects, like when you first got into doing it, can you talk about the process of recording like your first records? Like how was that for you? Like when you first came into the studio for like the first time or wherever you recorded at, was it rather smooth? Like had you practiced what you had to do? Did you like go to the studio and write when you got there? Like how was your process for those first albums?
My writing process and my recording process is not much different than it was in 2016 when I graduated high school and I dropped my first album.
Mm-hmm.
I like to write by myself. I like to record by myself. Everything I've ever recorded has been in my own space. And it's just learning. I don't know shit about mixing and mastering, but I do it.
So you're self-taught. You've been like engineering yourself from the start, just kind of learning as you go.
And I can hear it every song. It's better and better and better. And I like that. I like that progression. And I dropped an album in November called The Eighth Letter. 15 tracks, and each one was mixed and mastered by me. And originally I started sending the songs out to get mixed and mastered because I was told that my shit, I was told that I'm just not good enough. And I can respect that because I have professionals telling me that this is what a professional is supposed to sound like. And I get the songs back and I felt like it wasn't even my music. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but and I feel a tremendous amount of value from doing it myself. And even if it's not perfect, when I'm ready to release it, it's my own work, and I feel like it's perfect to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, what I've listened to, and I went through your albums, not only just like recently this past week, so I could like brush up on it, but I mean, I had listened before, and if I wouldn't have been able to tell, to be honest. Like I thought a lot of it sounded good, and I was gonna say, who does your mastering? You know what I'm saying? Because it sounded good. Like I had no qualms with it. But yeah, I mean, that's kudos to you, bro, because I mean that just shows that you got the drive that it takes to achieve something, and you're really working towards that goal right now, which is fucking sweet. You know what I mean? But yeah, what did you like play any instruments or any of that stuff in high school or any time through school, or were you in like a choir or anything like that? Any musical stuff?
So I'm in high school. I did not play any. I was not part of a band. I played a lot of baseball. I'm self-taught in drums. I I think I can play the piano. I don't know. I don't know. I can play the
Same.
piano, but
Same.
I don't know if I can play the piano. I produced 6 out of the 15 tracks that were on the 8th Letter, the album that came out in November. And producing is definitely something I'm not as good at as rapping, but I do enjoy it. And yeah, as far as instruments, I mean, I like the drums, I like piano. I fucking hate the guitar. I'm never gonna learn how to play that shit.
Yeah, it's tough on the fingers, the guitar, anything like that. It's really hard. But yeah, the drums are tough too, man, because you got to have like if you want to drum for a while, you got to have some good cardio, bro, for real.
Mm-hmm. That's just a workout.
It is, yeah, for sure. So yeah, what's your favorite genre, if any? If you listen to any other genre of music besides hip hop, or is it just hip hop?
Yep. So I love a lot of 80s pop. Prince and Michael Jackson are 2 of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
And 80s pop is really where I discovered is not only a great place to sample hip hop, but it's really where I discovered sampling hip hop. I mean, looking up tracks and seeing where they come from, where the samples are, is almost better than listening to the song. It's just, and as a producer, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's
whosampled.com is one of my favorite websites. I'm there all the time.
Yeah, and it's not only is it cool to see where it comes from, but seeing if you can do anything else with where it comes from.
Yeah, seeing what you can do to it, and knowing what has already been done to it. Yeah. Yep. And we were talking about that for that that beat, fabulous Tamia beat or whatever that you were talking about. But you know, that particular beat though, that song, I mean, in general, that was like her song, then a Fabulous song, and then I think in 2015 Childish Gambino did it. Am I right? So Into You or some shit. I think he did that. But that fucking song in general, if you look at, I think it's 3 chords is all that song is, but it's so memorable, those 3 chords that are played in it. And I think that what you were saying is like, it definitely has room for, to be not improved upon, but definitely could be done different. Cause I feel like those 3 times that they did it was very similar. It was like, could have been the same song. You know what I mean?
Yes. For me, sampling songs is very hard when there isn't an original sample with it. Like as far as I know, there isn't an original sample to Into You by Fabulous.
No, it's played. Someone played that. Right.
Yeah, and that's what makes, in my mind, that's what makes it hard to re-engineer it. Because if I can go back and look at the old sample and be like, okay, this is what they did, let me see if I can change it. It's very hard when we have songs like that and like No Scrubs, which is another song on my I gotta sample this shit list that isn't a sample of anything. And that's why I just think a sound like that would be great for you to try to do it. I don't know. I just think
you know
with that one.
You know what an awesome idea is too that I've experimented with in the past and shit is when someone gives you an idea for a sample like that and you want to pull the inspiration and be like, you don't want it to sound exactly the same. I'll search for like acoustic piano or acoustic guitar covers of the song I'm looking for or something like that, just to pull like a different sound from it. Or even I've even replayed this shit before. Like I had thought about it for that. Like I said, it's only 3 chords on there. I could pick any sound I want. It doesn't have to be the guitar. It doesn't have to be, it could be any kind of sound. You can manipulate it, but make it the same chords that progress through the song. There's just a lot of things that can be done when you start looking at it from outside the box, because for a long time I would just think, I want to sample a song, it's going to be the original song. But then I started getting this to this point where it's like, especially if it was something that had been done before, I'd be like, is there any other versions of this? Even like a fucking different, like a extended cut or anything that might have a different part of the sample you could pull. You know what I'm saying? That's what I look for, just to kind of be unique with the sound or whatever. But yeah, definitely 80s pop, a lot of classics in there. I think that you could probably go on for days too, between what's been sampled out of that whole era too.
Yeah, the 80s as a whole is not only has some of the best hip hop tracks, but the best pop, the best just a lot of good music came out of the 80s.
It did, and a lot of very experimental stuff. It was new with the electronic drums, and things that you hadn't been hearing before and stuff. And I think that it just really stood out as far as a music genre time frame. You know, like the 80s was definitely classic, except for country. But yeah, you know,
except for country.
Yeah, just except for country. There was no classics at all. All right, so so now let's move on to something different here and stop talking about music for a second. And let's talk about like your what would be your favorite unexplained phenomenon? You know what I mean? Like anything out there that you take a liking to, like UFOs, or do you believe in ghosts? You believe in, like, you know, conspiracies of any sort, or, you know, anything like that you know, piques your interest or whatever?
So I definitely don't understand why people think the earth is flat. Like, I get it. I don't understand it. I don't like.
Right.
There are people in the moon on the they're up there. The world is a circle.
Right? They've been there. They can fucking see. It is. Like...
Besides that, I mean, I think 9/11 really happened. But I think Bush might have let it happen.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. I think Bush knew it was going to happen. He knew, and he made a plan, and, you know, that was what the whole thing was. I'm totally behind that.
I think just like Pearl Harbor, which I think was staged as well. Not staged, but like there's evidence to show that FDR told the radar people that those planes were a test run or whatever. When in reality, they were Japanese planes, because he wanted to fucking start a war with the Japanese.
Right.
But I think 9/11 really happened. I just think there's a good possibility that Bush let it happen so we could fucking take some oil and shit.
Right. He had to finish what his dad had started prior. Yep. I think is what that was. But you know, we could go on for like hours talking about the conspiracy behind 9/11.
Welcome to the 9/11 podcast.
Right, you were just a kid.
I was 3
when that happened too. Yeah, so you don't remember it firsthand. So you're remembering it through the history of what happened, through watching it, which is wild because, you know, on 9/11, I was 2001, I was a junior, sophomore, something like that. I was in high school, watched it happen live on TV. Matter of fact, we used to watch news every morning. And when we turned the news on, it was like 8 o'clock, just before 8 o'clock or whatever. And we had turned the news on and it was already happening. Like something had happened to the tower and they're like, the tower's on fire. We don't know. And they're showing it live. So when the second plane came and hit, like our whole classroom was watching it. Right. And when I went to school, where I went to school was Kennebunk. And so the Bushes own a big old, you know, home base down in Kennebunkport. It was literally, it was 3 miles from my high school. Right. And so when that shit happened, Kennebunk shut the school down. They had Secret Service helicopters flying everywhere. They shut the schools down and they sent us home. And so I'll never forget, you know what I mean, like where that is. And it's funny too, because my kids have learned about it a little bit in school, and then they're like talking to me about it, and I feel like I'm old, you know. I'm like, damn. I was like, people were like talking to me about it, and I'm like, what? I was there, and they're like, oh, you're fucking old, you know. But yeah, that's what happens.
I feel like as a younger millennial, older Gen Z, I don't really know where I fit in the generation gap, but I feel like there's like two different people, and I only like really I only trust one of them. There's people born before 9/11, and then there's people born after 9/11. Like my brother was born in 2005, and he learns about 9/11 in school, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, even though I was 3, I feel like everyone born after 9/11, I just don't want to associate myself with because I'm just so young, you know?
Yeah, they just have no idea like how everything in this shit has been for like years for us. We had to go through a lot of shit to get where we're at. But yeah, I know that for me anyways, as far as unexplained phenomenon and stuff, like I kind of like always been like a skeptic when it came to a lot of shit, and I always try to explain shit away as much as I can, you know, because I'm like science or whatever, I believe in it. But there have been some instances. I know that we've had some stuff happen in our family. Not really me personally. I have one experience that stands out to me. My grandmother, Nell, on my father's side, had passed away in 1997. And when I was like 13 years old, and she lived in Florida at the time. We lived in Maine, and my mother had a little craft store where she would make these things, and it was attached to the front of our house. Sometimes she'd get people that would stop in randomly and, you know, check out what she had. But one day, this lady came, and this was like a couple of weeks or a week or two after my grandmother Nell had passed away. This lady came to our house with her friend and stopped in to see my mother, right? And I'm in the living room, and I can see out the window, and I'm looking out the window, and I see this lady get out of the car, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I'm like, because my grandmother Nell just had a certain look about her, right? I'm not going to say she was fat, you know what I'm saying? But she was built well, and she had like a shorter haircut, and she had these reading glasses, and she would always wear them with that, you know, that like string thing that people attach to the back of their glasses and they hang them on their neck or they put them up on their head. She would do that all the time, and it was like her thing, and she would wear these sweaters, and she was wearing that. She had like glasses up on her head, and she looked, I mean, it could have been like her twin, honestly. And you know, so my mother, she comes in, and my mother comes into the house and gets me and says, you got to come out here and meet this lady. So I do, because I had saw her walking in, and when I saw her, I'm like, damn, I was like, this looks exactly like and my mother had already told her, you look exactly like, and she had taken out a photo album that she had with my grandmother in it and started showing the lady, and the lady was amazed. And here's the thing that really threw me off, dude, is it was just, we felt so strange while she was there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was just our adrenaline or what was happening or what had happened before. But then when my mother asked what her name was, we were just blown away, dude. And her name was Angel. Oof. Like, I shit you not, right? Yeah. That was her name. And so my mother exchanged phone numbers with this lady who said she was visiting from Massachusetts. Actually, she was up, you know, coming up to Kennebunkport from there, and they exchanged numbers and everything. And she's like, the lady said, I'm going to come back, and I'll be back, and I swear I'll call you. And we never saw her from her again. So it's like one of those crazy things where it puts you on the edge. Like, do I believe just because of that? I mean, if coincidences exist, then we're living in a false reality. You know what I'm saying? So like, I can't really believe in that, mathematically speaking, that would happen. But it really made me think, like, is it, you know, a sign? What is it? You know what I'm saying? So that kind of put me on the edge of wondering, and it threw me into like wondering about, you know, other things. It started getting me into like wondering about, you know, aliens and Egyptian stuff, and like, you know, you watch Ancient Aliens, and if you ever seen that, it just kind of gets you thinking about everything that could be. Not saying that it was, but they do raise a possibility that it could be other things, and I'm kind of into that, but I'm also kind of into believing that it's not true, you know. Definitely on the fence about it. What about you, Justin?
Well, yeah, it's now you got me thinking about aliens and fucking the pyramids and shit. Right. Growing up, like, we had the same conversation with, you know, with our grandmother on our mother's side. Like, she was big into that, and I remember staying up all hours of the night just talking about that shit all the time. Like, there's no way, you know, humans could have built all this shit. You know, the physics just doesn't work out. Like, just crazy stuff like that. Yeah,
for sure, dude. Definitely makes you wonder anyway, like, what the fuck is actually going on. Sometimes I think maybe this is like a great Grand Theft Auto simulation that we're in, you know what I'm saying? And we're just like, we're playing characters of ourselves that we created or some shit, you know, weird shit. Hell yeah. But all right, so back to the music. What we're gonna do like a pick three. So like, we're gonna do like a top 5. We're gonna pick 3 things, and we're gonna see what your top 5 of these things are. And there's no wrong answers with this, so it doesn't really matter. But let's go first with what are, if you can, your top 5 like albums that have been put out through hip hop or whatever genre.
Fuck.
You can think about it, because it's not like an easy question, but
it's probably 5 Gangstar albums, to be honest. I think about every time I get asked this question, it's something different. So depending on what episode people watch, it's gonna be different.
And that's fine, dude, because, you know, it changes. It's fluid.
Yeah, you go through phases, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's fluid. It is. New music comes out, old music you rediscover and shit like that. So yeah.
So first of all, Life After Death, classic. Love it. I've never been. I respect Tupac, but I've never been a. He's not even in my top 20. Even though he's a legend. I've never really. He's not. He doesn't stand out to me. But It Was Written by Nas is another one of my favorites. I even like it more than Illmatic purely because I feel like not only does it have more tracks, but for me, there are a bunch of tracks on Illmatic that I feel like It Was Written has less skips, even though they're both classic projects.
Yeah, it does. Same.
Moment of Truth by Gangstar, that not only changed my life as a whole when it came out in 1999. I was one. No, but when I'm listening to that album, it's classic. That's another one of my favorites.
Definitely.
Reasonable Doubt, classic. Can I Live? I don't even like. I don't even. There are very few songs on Reasonable Doubt I actually love, but Can I Live saves the whole album for me. It's one of the best hip hop songs. Period.
Yeah.
But The Evils is also a great one. There's a bunch of other ones on there too that are slappers.
22s.
Fuck, and I need one more. I've never been too crazy about Eminem, but Recovery is definitely one of my favorite albums. Period. Which isn't a popular opinion, especially when it comes to Eminem. But I feel like I've never liked the super silly stuff from Eminem, and for him to get out of Recovery, for him to get out of like drug addiction and then drop Relapse, I felt like that was a huge step backwards, not only for himself but for his career, and even he has admitted that Relapse was a mistake, and Recovery is a much better album. And I feel like Recovery as a concept just kind of just saved Eminem for me.
Yeah, for sure, dude. How about what do you got? Top 5 for producers?
Top 5 for producers.
We already know the number one.
Obese the Prophet, definitely. DJ Premier. Golden.
For sure.
There's very few people, period, who are leaving a legacy the way that DJ Premier is. He's touched every legend. Not like that. That came off wrong.
Show your sweatshirt there, because that's my favorite.
I got a Dilla sweatshirt on.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Dilla.
Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday. Yeah, that was yesterday.
Jay Dilla, classic. Pete Rock, classic. Ninth Wonder, classic.
Yep.
And Obese the Prophet. Yeah, that's about it. Obese the Prophet.
Dial on. Word. And how about your top 5 artists? Like MCs.
Yes, sir. We have Guru from Gangstar, Royce 5'9", Ed O.G., who is a Boston Roxbury native.
Boston. Yep.
He's a legend. Even though he does not get the track record that he does not get the respect that he rightfully deserves. We have people growing up in Boston who are like, "Who the fuck's that OG? I don't know how you even exist.
Yeah, that's
get out of here."
Shame.
Yeah, come on, dude. Seriously.
We just have a lot of kids, especially coming into hip hop and not understanding that this platform that was built from hard work and tears has a huge history. And if you're going to come into this free and open society of hip hop, you need to respect that legacy. So to have people who don't understand hip hop and hip hop's legends, it's kind of embarrassing. But Prodigy, classic. May he rest in peace. He's one of the nastiest MCs. And I don't know if you guys know this, but he's actually uncredited, but he did a lot of tracks on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if he's like the little kid. He's uncredited. If you're ever like, who the fuck is this guy? That's Prodigy. He's uncredited.
Oh, no shit. Cool.
But and then Nas just everything he spits is sheer gold.
Yeah.
It's super
Yeah.
wise.
He just has such a great delivery and voice. For sure.
I pray on the day I bust a Nina on the bitch who shot Selena, then I rejoice. I love Nas. I love Nas.
Yeah, super dope. Word. So I'm gonna let anybody who's watching too know that if you have any questions for Hero or any of us, put them in the comments. We'll check them here in a little bit, and we might ask a couple questions if you have them. But yeah, that's pretty much the top 5 segment there. Now, moving away from music again, what is like some of your hobbies that you do that have nothing to do with music? Like, are you into sports, video games, art?
I am super into video games. I probably do it. I'm probably as passionate about video games as I am about rap. It's just not only does it influence my music crazy, but it's good to take a step back from music every once in a while and just play some fucking games.
Yeah,
like 8-9 hours a day.
So you a PS5 or Xbox Series X guy?
I'm definitely gonna get a PS5 whenever they become available
when they're available
to the general, just like the vaccine. Whenever they become available to the general population,
I look every day. I'm looking, but I can't find one yet.
On the real though, the cool thing about the PS5 is that any game you can put any PS4 game into it, and it's gonna work. So the necessity to get it right away isn't a big deal, especially since there's not going to be games that just come out on the PS5. Well, there are a few, but they're not like, I need this shit right now.
Right.
I didn't get a PS4 until 2015, and that's because I didn't feel like there was any reason to step away from the PS3.
I hear you.
It's gonna be a little bit, and at that point, they're gonna be pretty available to the public, I think.
Right, and I always like to wait until like the updated version or like the second version comes out, so they work the kinks out usually. But yeah, I used to be Xbox guy. Then in about 2016, I was working at GameStop and I got a PlayStation 4, and ever since then I kind of been PlayStation 4. It's just the controller felt better in my hands, and it gave me less hand fatigue and shit. And I just felt like it was a better overall system. I'd love to get a PS5. And another cool thing about the PS5 is if you got your old PS4, you can share play, right? So like you could have the PS4 in the other room or something and be playing with somebody in the same household, PS5 games and shit, which I thought was pretty fucking sweet. But yeah, I play a lot of games too. I'm on Call of Duty Warzone, not as much since Cold War came out. Then I got 2K21. I'm playing all the time, some GTA, shit like that.
Xbox really lost its way. I mean, especially when it introduced the Xbox One, they didn't show any games. They had a 2-hour press conference, and it was just like, this thing plays Netflix. Like,
yeah, they were all over the hardware. They were all over the hardware. Games.
Right now, they own a shitload of studios. Like, they just bought Bethesda a few months ago. I mean, that's Skyrim, that's Fallout. Not only and then that's every studio that Bethesda owns: the Wolfenstein games, the Doom games, the Dishonored games. I mean, not only do they have Bethesda, which is a giant, but if they want to, they can just release it. I mean, whenever Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, the next Skyrim, if they make that an Xbox exclusive and it doesn't suck as much as Fallout 76.
Right.
It's gonna be. They're gonna dominate. I do think PlayStation though still kills the single player experience. I mean, for as bad as Last of Us 2, for as bad as people think The Last of Us 2 is, I think it's a phenomenal game, and it's a sheer it's a great game. Celebration of it's a technological feat, even though the story does come up short every now and then.
I mean, I couldn't stop playing it. You know what I'm saying? When I played it straight through. I couldn't stop. So, I mean, it's decent enough to keep you going. Could it have more? Yeah. But, I mean, it's not Cyberpunk. You know what I'm saying? So, you lucked out with that. Right.
Here's the thing. It's a 25-hour game on average. I beat it in like 22 and a half. 3 of those hours, 3.5 of those 22 hours I played was spent shooting at people. So that is not a large percentage of your game that is spent in combat. You're walking around, you're experiencing the story, you're collecting shit, you're doing puzzles. So if more of the percentage of the game is not the best part, shooting, it's got to be good. And I felt like, especially halfway through the game, when you switch characters, especially at the height of the climax of the first character, halfway through the game, you switch, and it's, even though it is a good part, as a story, it was weird because that switch was just so sudden, and it killed the momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a little janky in places, but overall, I thought it was a pretty decent game. It was worth the money. I mean, usually I don't buy a game when it's new like that, but I bought that one, because it's just been so long. And I played the first when it first came out, and then the remaster too. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna play the remaster too, because it was the first one I thought was actually a little better. As far as story wise,
the first one's great, and it's 12 hours. You spend 5 of those hours shooting people. And it's a game that I've beaten 8 times, and I look forward to playing it a 9th time. It's just it's a fantastic game.
Right.
As far as other PlayStation classics, especially on the PS4, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima, which came out in July, a fantastic samurai game. One of the best sword combat games you will ever play. God of War was amazing.
Yeah, I heard that was good. I never played it, but I definitely heard some good reviews on that one.
Days Gone gets a bad rep, which is a motorcycle zombie game.
Yep, I like that game. I have that. I don't play it anymore, but when it came out, I did play. It was pretty good. Janky in the controls a little bit, but smooth, and it ran really well on the PlayStation 4. It looked pretty good too.
Yes, it gets a bad rep because it doesn't do anything inherently different. And when Ubisoft drops 3 Assassin's Creeds every year that kind of have the same open world, go here, climb the tower, unlock the map thing, it's, even though it was a great game, it dropped at the height of open world fatigue. People don't want to. People are sick of the same rinse and repeat. Go here, do this, climb the tower, unlock the map.
Like shit. Far Cry. Like Far Cry is always the same. Every time Far Cry comes out, it's like switch it up a little.
It's a great game that unfortunately gets a bad rep, but if you have the chance to play it, it's great.
You know what another great game was? Dying Light. You ever play that? Great. Oh my god, I can't wait for the next one to come out. Is the next one out? No, it's not out yet.
No, whenever it comes out. It was supposed to come out in 2020, and now it's
I was thinking that,
I don't know.
Yeah, they don't know now. Yeah, I was looking forward to that one because I really got into that one, and it really pulls on you, dude. Like, you feel like sometimes you're genuinely scared. Like, there's something there. The way they have the sound set up, the way that they have just the overall creepiness in the first person view, and you have to run. It's really great.
Dying Light's great. The second one, they played a trailer in 2019. I don't know if you've seen that trailer. It's super, super, super ambitious, and it's to the point where every single thing you do affects the story. And when you write a story like that with so many outcomes, all the outcomes have to be really good, or you have a situation in Fallout 3 where you blow up the fucking town, and none of those fucking people in the town matter whether you blow up the town or not. And when you write a story like that, a good writer can account for all these choices. But when you have this pyramid scheme of choices, it gets a little. It could be bad.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, I've been playing video games since fucking Nintendo, pretty much. I think from Nintendo, I got the Nintendo, then I got the Sega Genesis. I didn't go with the Super Nintendo. I don't know why, but Sega was the one for me. Mortal Kombat and shit. I was all into that. But then from there, I think I got I got a Dreamcast at one point, actually, which was like so short-lived.
You're the only one that had a Dreamcast.
Yeah, it was so stupid. I was like, Sega's the best, and then it was not the best at all. They were horrible. The games were janky as fuck. Ended up, getting a PS2, I think, or after that was the next thing I got, and then made the switch to Xbox, back to PS, and I don't think I'll ever go back to getting an Xbox at this point. They've really disappointed me. Everything I've heard about what they've done recently, and I don't know. I'm feeling PlayStation these days. Probably just gonna stick with it. But yeah, so I mean, what's your take on the price point of the PlayStation though? Do you think, because I've heard people say that it's too much money for what you're getting. I'm talking about the digital version with the no drive idea. I think it's like $400 what they retail or whatever. I thought $400 was I thought it was a decent price, but I've seen online a lot of people arguing that they're charging too much for what you're getting.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
So when the PS4 came out, it was $400.
Mm-hmm.
Came with a disc drive. The disc drive, the discless version of the PS5 is $400. Which honestly, when you account that every single game you've bought digitally on the PS4, you can play right on the PS5. When you add that into the equation, because I have hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of dollars worth of digital downloads that I can just play on my PS5 now.
I only have one disc, I think, and that's it.
I have a lot of discs too, and that's why I'm not willing to just get the digital version. But I think if you're that kind of player, I think it could even make sense. But if you're somebody who got the Xbox One and then stuck with the Xbox One, and you're like, I'm just gonna get a PS5, it could seem like a little expensive. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when the original fucking toaster oven PS3 came out that you could cook a fucking steak on, that's how hot it got.
The griddle.
It was $700 for 16 gigabytes.
Right. Yeah.
And at that point, Xbox 360 is like, it's like ours is like $400. Like,
and that's when they kind of took over the market with that price point. Right. But like I said, I think 400 is a perfect $400 or $500 for a PlayStation 5 is a good price. I don't know why anybody would argue that it's not.
Well, I think the gripe is at that price point is the storage. Like Hero said, like if you got 50 games that are all digital and you got, a 500 gig hard drive, you can't put 10 games on there.
No, you can't. You're right. That is something. They should have at least 2 terabyte on there, standard, easy, and then.
So the discless and the disc version of the PS5, it's like 850 gigs, and that's not even after the software.
Right.
So probably after the software, it's like 750.
You probably store 3 or 4 games on there. That's it.
Yeah, and especially when you got Warzone, which is like 100, and then you got Cold War, which is like 120. And
it's exactly what my PS4 looks like right now. I got Warzone, got Cold War, I got GTA 4. And I think I got 2K21.
Right now, hard drives are pretty cheap. I mean, you can get a 2 terabyte hard drive
$80
on Amazon for like $60-$80.
Yeah, $60-$80.
And you can do that. I have one plugged into my PS4 right now.
I have one here that fucked up, and that's what it's like. Second one that fucking burned out on me. So it's like, I feel like they owe me something. Seagate does, those motherfuckers.
I think when storage is like that, it's as long as it's around close to a terabyte, you'll be able to play a few games. And if you want the extra storage, you can go get it. It's pretty affordable. Even a terabyte is like $40.
For sure. Word. So nothing else like besides video games you like to do, like hiking or any art type stuff? Anything else that you do in your free time besides that?
I don't do photography. I do photography for all the shows I throw, mostly because I don't want to pay anybody to do it because I can't.
Right.
So it kind of started as like, well, I have this camera, so why don't I just take photos? And now it's like, I kind of like this. And I'm not the kind of photographer where it's like, let's go to this location and set this up. The cool thing about performing photography is the best part about performing photography is everything is in the moment, and even if you fuck up this shot, there's another one right after it. So I usually leave a show with 100 with 100 pictures of each artist, and it's just picture after picture after picture, and most of them look pretty good. As far as other hobbies, I do like production. Beat production. I don't do it as much as I do rap. I use Machine, Native Instruments for all my stuff. That's just kind of the platform that is easiest for me. Fruity Loops gives me an aneurysm when I look at it. Ableton gives me an aneurysm when I look at it. I heard Reason is very terrible, but some people love it.
Yeah, some people do. I don't like
Loman. Loman type beats, who produced a song called The Wait. He does a lot of work with terminology. He fucking hates Reason, but he's like, it's what I know,
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's easy to use that when you're using something that it's just like easy to stick with it. You're like, what? No, I'm just gonna stick with this.
Reason I heard is very good for composing. It's not. It sucks for samples, even if you drop a plugin in there. at least from what I heard.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with it. Back in like 2005, I knew people who fucked with it, but I never did.
Yeah, Machine just works very easy for me, especially since I got the fucking controller. You know.
Yeah, I fucked with Machine a little bit. My buddy had given me one for a little while, and then I was just like, it wasn't the full on. I think it was like a smaller version, and
Mini,
I just couldn't really get into the flow of using it how I wanted to, like the MPC. You know what I mean? It's like I was so used to the MPC, and I tried to use that, it was like backwards, you know. But yeah, word, that's dope. I did want to ask you though, what about that song that you did, The Thing About Me? That song, I love that song, by the way. Who did you make that beat? Who made that beat?
I did make that beat.
You did? That beat is I've just take that fucking song and it stands out to me. I know it's a long song or whatever, but it does stand out to me because on that particular song, I feel like if you just throw that in the mix with any 90s hip hop mix and just let it play through, like people wouldn't even like pick up that just was made like recently, you know what I'm saying? And it blends right in with the it could be a classic boom bap track. Easy, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to know who made that beat. Like, since you've been talking about how you make beats and shit, now I'm wondering, did you make that beat? That's why I want to know, because that beat is sick. I'm gonna give you that. And did you make that beat using the Machine?
I did make that beat using Machine. I forget where I got the sample. It was like a free piano loop website. So so it wasn't anything that was.
But you chopped it up.
But I chopped it up and I rapped my ass off for 88 bars, 2 44-bar verses.
Yeah.
And it is 7 minutes long, but I wanted to create the perfect intro to an album, and I think, especially with that being my second album, I knew I wanted to create not only a song but an album where people understood me as an MC. And with my first album, that's definitely something I lacked because the confidence in my shit wasn't there. It was all like, I'm the best, but it's like, why are you the best? You know, and I know I'm fucking hot shit, but I don't even gotta say it. I don't gotta say it anymore. I know I'm hot shit, and I was taught that hip hop is how many ways can you say you're the best without actually saying it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I remember you saying that on the show the other night. It makes perfect sense too. But yeah, 22,000 plays on Spotify on that track. So I mean, it's obviously a track that people like, and
people reference that.
I wouldn't, if you listen to it, you're bobbing your head the whole fucking time, so you don't even realize that 7 minutes is gone by the time you're at the end. You're like, damn, just gonna play it again.
Yeah, if you can have a 7 minute song and be like, and want to play, and especially if you want to play it again, you did a good fucking job.
Yeah, you did, because like I said, that beat. Justin, did you hear that song, The Thing About Me?
I'm looking at his SoundCloud right now. Is it on SoundCloud?
I don't know. Is it? I'm on I see it on Spotify, but yeah.
It's on SoundCloud. It might be far down just because it was 2 projects ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mission Hill. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that particular song though.
It is a great song.
Yeah, I love that. Not to discredit anything else you've done. Like I could probably just pick a bunch of your songs to do that, but I just wanted to know, since you had mentioned that you're doing the production stuff, if that you made that beat and you did it on a machine. Like I just want to know that for personal. You know what I'm saying? Machine. I'm fucking with it. I'm not gonna discredit anyone who uses a machine. It's just for me. I was like, damn, I can't fuck with this because it would take me way longer to do it than on an MPC. You know. Yeah. Word. So right now, I think we don't really have many questions. I think there's a question, Justin, if you've seen the question too, what issues most concern you about our government in the years to come? And do you agree that major change needs to be done to restore our faith and accountability for our so-called leaders of this country? I know it's kind of political, but you want to kind of discuss that a little bit? We're kind of to the point here. It's about 9:00, so this would be where I would take my smoke break and where we would see if there any questions for the guests that anybody needs to ask or whatever they want to know from either us or from Hero. So ask them in the comments if you're here and you want to know anything. But I think first, Justin, you should probably just start the discussion with Mary Jermaine's question about the what issues do concern you about the government coming up here, and do you think that major changes need to be done? What could those changes be? What do you think we're doing right now? Do you think it's a good path that we're kind of on right now?
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's a loaded question.
And there probably aren't any right answers.
Right. It really depends on what side of the aisle you're coming from.
Right, but we want to hear our sides. You know what I'm saying? So the question's being asked just so we can discuss our sides. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just a discussion, type question. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a great question. Wish I was a little bit more prepared for it, but so let me bring it back. Rewind about a month ago. Sitting at home, inauguration day. Actually, it wasn't even a month ago. It was what, 2.5, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Election or inauguration day. Biden's, supposed to be, the savior. And, a couple days before, we have, people who wanted to take things into their own hands going into the Capitol. Now, had they kept it peaceful and they hadn't tried to, break into a federal building and cause harm to elected officials, might have made my mind a little bit harder to change. But after seeing that, and a lot of the people that were going there probably had no idea what they were actually, going to get themselves into, kind of thing. And I mean, just seeing, people taking chairs and poles and shit, busting through windows, trying to get into the Capitol building. It was scary, to be honest. I thought shit was going to get way worse. And thankfully, it didn't. Nobody was, too crazy, too wild. There was that one police officer and I think one veteran that did end up passing away, which it's a goddamn shame, first of all, that anybody died.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that shit was wild watching that on TV. So
yeah, for sure.
It did shake my faith in the country and in the leadership of the country. And I can't say that Biden has really done a whole lot to restore that. Thanks, Lucifer. See, I got Lucifer over here giving me, fact checking and shit.
What do you say?
So that 5 people died.
5 people. Okay.
Yep. So not just 2. There was 5 people that died.
Yeah. All
but again,
undeserving deaths.
Right. Nobody should have died. But Biden, like I said, hasn't really done a whole lot to restore that faith. And
what I see,
I don't really know what he could do at this point.
No, that's what I'm saying. What I see is, I see a lot of, just a lot of straight political shit that Biden does. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because what we saw for the past 4 years has been a lot of not political shit. Like if you're going to be a politician, you have to carry yourself a certain way, because that's your fucking job.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, they tried the Trump experiment or whatever. And while some people could point out he did certain things that may have been good, I don't see it. I don't see where the bad things he did outweighed the maybe few good things he did during his whole time, except for just kind of, fuel the flames of what was already kind of brewing under the skin of the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And kind of just playing that card. And what I see from Biden is the complete opposite of what was happening before. And what Biden brings to the table, is that something that's gonna change our country for the better? I mean, in the short term, with dealing with this pandemic, yes, I believe that what he's doing and everything that he fucking says. I mean, if you watch any of the interviews he's done recently, he brings up how his son had the alcohol and drug addiction, and he said he's a human being, he's a person just like anybody else out there who has these problems. And he was proud of his son for stepping up and doing what was right and getting treatment. And you just wouldn't hear anything like that from Trump. Trump's not going to come out and fucking say his family has a problem and they've addressed it and relate to other people. It's not going to happen. But as far as bringing change about the country, I'm not sure it's going to get done with Biden, and I'm not sure that it would ever get done. if we don't move away from this two-party bullshit that they got, and we don't get rid of lobbyists, and we don't pull the money out of politics and start regulating it better than it is, I don't think anything will change. But I think that right now, even though we're in this pandemic, we're better off than we were last year at this time, as far as people are having to stay home, and people are having a hard time with things, but the money and things are coming. It's like February, March, April, things are going to get better for a lot of people. Is everyone going to have their problem solved? Probably not. People will still lose their housing. People are still going to be struggling to eat. But will things be better than they were this time last year, or March of last year, we'll say? I think so. And moving forward, like this time next year, I'm thinking it's going to be a hell of a lot better. Now, is this a condition of Biden's the president now, or will it be a condition of the pandemic is finally ending and people are going to be, when it's finally good for everybody to get out, the fucking economy is going to go crazy if people have money in their pockets. But if they don't, it doesn't matter when it comes back. Like, people are going to have to work that money back up. But if we have money to sustain us, I just feel like we'll hit the ground running a little bit better, and that could be a good thing. Then again, who knows? If we have to deal with this pandemic for much longer, I'm just ready to fucking, I'm ready to just get out of here. I might want to go everywhere. I'm like, yo, when are we going to Vegas? Like, when are we going here? Like, I want to go and do things, and I know other people are, but I'm just not at that comfort level yet where I'm ready to get out there and start doing that kind of shit. You know what I mean? And it will be good to just kind of get there. But yeah.
So we got another question here to kind of piggyback on the whole COVID thing. Should we or should we not get this vaccination? It's a great question. I don't know if there's enough research out there to prove either way. However, I have heard that the vaccinations, I don't know if it's the Moderna one or the Pfizer one, but one of them was shown to be effective against the at least the UK variant.
Yeah, the Moderna one, I think they were saying. But I think he went on to say his better half was infected and his house was quarantined. You see that? Yeah. And he's just wondering if, the vaccine is good or bad. Well, did they get the vaccine and then they got sick, or did they, you know what I'm saying? How did that work out? So his better half was infected. So
it sounds like
I don't think they were vaccinated.
They had it.
Right? They had the COVID, right?
They had the virus.
Well,
it sucked. I'm sure those 2 weeks, suffered through it. But whoever was infected should, in theory, have immunity or somewhat immunity to this, and hopefully not get reinfected.
That's not going to protect whoever else didn't get it. If you didn't get it, if you didn't get sick this time, you didn't build up any antibodies. I'm on the fence with the vaccine. I'm waiting for more people to take it. I feel like a lot of people have taken it, and it hasn't really been too much of a hoorah about it. So I feel like maybe it would be safe. It's not even being offered to me at this point, so I'm not even worried about it. But when it does become available, I'm definitely going to talk to the doctors about it. I have researched a little bit. I'll probably end up taking it at some point, only because I want to go back to normalcy. And I'm a person who I don't take the flu vaccine. I have never, unless it was like back when I was living with my mother and that my parents made me, I've never got a flu vaccine. All right. And so, like I said, I was in school when I got vaccines like that.
Right.
So I'm not someone who's like jumping to the front of the line, like, give me the vaccine. I'm 50-50. I'm on the fence. But if it means that we're going to kind of return to some sort of normalcy, then yeah, I'm going to do it,
And I mean, it's personal, choice at this point. Like, if you have somebody in your house that's in, one of those highly dangerous situations, it's an older parent or, somebody that has diabetes or other, medical conditions that if they got sick, it could be catastrophic, then maybe you consider, the pros outweigh the cons. I'm getting this vaccine as soon as I can, so that this person doesn't get exposed to it that I live with,
Fuck yeah, that's definitely important.
So, I mean, who am I? Some fucking idiot from Randolph, Massachusetts. Like, ask your doctor if this vaccine is going to be worth it,
Yeah. And you might want to make sure you trust your doctor too. I know some doctors out there, they'll just push whatever they're being told to push. But what are your thoughts, Hero? If they come out and they say, "Hey, bro, it's your turn to take the vaccine," are you going to step right up and take it? Or are you hesitant to take it? Or what's your thoughts?
Right now in Massachusetts, if you want to go to school, you need a flu shot.
Yep. Fact.
That's just if you're a child, not if you want.
Yes.
If you're a child and you legally have to go to school, you legally have to get a flu shot.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason why they couldn't do that with the COVID vaccine.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't see much evidence as far as like they want to track us and shit like that. I don't know if there are nanobots in the fucking vaccine.
It might be. I don't know.
There could be. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we fucking carry our phones with GPSs all
right.
day.
Who the fuck is looking us up anyways? What do I need to look up and see what you're doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Right? What does the FBI need to see?
I've been watching Shark Tank for the last week, and now fucking I'm getting FUBU ads all over my phone because Damon John owns FUBU, and I don't. We're being tracked no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
I've gotten the flu vaccine every year of my life. I'm 22, and I've never had the flu. And getting the flu shot is not. I've never been sick from getting the flu shot. I don't know if other people relate to that. But I've just been getting vaccines regularly, and that's just my life. You go to the doctor to get a flu vaccine, and that's kind of just what I've done. I don't, and nothing bad has ever come from it. So I don't know how, so I'm not against the COVID vaccine. I don't like I think COVID is not a hoax. It's definitely overplayed a lot. It's a lot overplayed. Mm-hmm. I mean, if a lot of old people are dying, and if an old person got the flu, then they have a good chance of dying just as much as COVID. COVID isn't any deadlier than the flu. It's just it lasts longer and it has the incubation period before you actually get sick.
Yeah.
It's kind of just the flu.
Contagious. Just contagious for longer while you might not know. You're able to spread it more.
Well, I do know that COVID does wreak havoc on your lungs. Mm-hmm. So if you have asthma or have lung issues, then this is scary for those kind of people because they're already struggling to breathe, and then they get this thing, and it's like it's dangerous.
I definitely think you should jump on the vaccine though. Like if you're being offered a vaccine, whenever that time happens, just fucking take it because nobody's died from it, and I don't think like really anything too bad is going to happen from it. I think it's probably going to turn into a seasonal thing like the flu shot. We're going to probably end up seeing COVID vaccines like every year or something.
It's not going anywhere.
How do you guys feel about a vaccine passport? It's something I saw in the news a while ago where basically it's a good possibility, but if you want to get on a plane, if you want to go to an event, you want to go to a show, you want to travel, you need to show documentation that you've gotten your COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Great
like
idea.
It's like a birth certificate. It's like whatever. I don't fuck with that, but I don't know.
I mean, if you're going to travel somewhere out of the country and shit, I mean, to verify that you don't have it, I believe that vaccine marking could be a good thing. It's easy for them to take your passport and say, okay, yeah, you've been vaccinated, so we don't have to worry about you. And or even if it's just a card that's maybe not on a passport or something that's you just keep a negative test result, that's, what I'm saying, some way you can show. Passport maybe is going a little too far, like you said, but there definitely should be something to help these agencies out and kind of when it's time, allow the travel to come back and to maintain that safe shit. I mean, if you're going to be doing traveling, especially to another country, you got money to get vaccinated. You got money to get your shit. You should just get it done because it's fucking free from what I hear. And if you're traveling, why not? Because you don't know if you can go there and get it. You don't know if you're bringing it.
Right.
I think it's just a smart move. The passport, I'm not sure, but definitely having a record of it that could be verified, whether it's verified through, the internet or you have something physical on you. Something. I'm not asking everybody to get tattoos, or some shit like that. Put a microchip in, but have something that says you've done it, a card or, something.
I just think the rules to this shit are stupid. Right now we have 24,000 fans in a Tampa Bay fucking stadium with no fucking masks at all, but I can't go to Applebee's after 10 because there's a curfew. And I don't help me understand why the rules are the way that they are, because they don't make sense.
So the rules, I'm just going to chime in. The rules are like this because it's never happened before, and we're writing the rules as we go. And every single state is going to have their own rules.
Isn't it different? Yeah, because there was no guidance from the government, from our former states. They should have put something that was like standard for the whole country, but they didn't. And now it's kind of too late, even though Biden's trying to do that, I guess. But
it's like,
they should have had some sort of guidance.
It's like, make me stay home or let me do the shit I want to do.
Right.
Like I don't like this in between shit, and we've been doing the in between shit for like a year.
Mm-hmm. You give me a little bit, and it's not quite enough, but it satisfies you. Like, you want to go eat Chinese, but you got to eat it in the car. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, fuck, you know? I want to sit down and spread out while I'm eating this whole shit, because I got wings, I got ribs, I got the rice, I got the fucking, you know what I mean? I got it all. So I need room. Try to do that in the car is like, what the fuck?
Right.
And these businesses that are being forced to close, especially in the music industry, like, there are no music venues open in Massachusetts. We are losing precious, like, we are losing legacies. Great Scott is closed. Like,
we need to do a fundraiser for these fucking venues, you know, do like a virtual show or something. Let's do it.
Fundraising people, though. The government should be like, we're making you close. Let's pay to keep you open in the future.
Yeah. But what the fuck? The government gonna do that?
I know. But what's gonna happen?
We're reaching.
We're not gonna have any music venues for the next fucking 5 years until people get revenue and open them back up, because they're gonna all be closed.
Those cold-hearted fucking politicians don't listen to music, dude. They just listen to chains dragging on the concrete. That's their fucking soundtrack. Halloween sounds, dude. Word. All right, so I think that's good for fundraising for wings. I'm down. Like, you ain't gotta tell me twice.
Don't talk to me about no vaccine no more. I'll talk the whole fucking show.
Word. So, let's just kind of talk and compare new rap versus old rap. This is something like we can talk about. Compare artist for artist. We could just compare the time eras. Just some good, honest, unbiased discussion, because honestly, a lot of music these days is really fucking strange, and I'm not into it. But there are a few artists that I think are okay, and follow that new age mantra, you know. But I mean, what's your thoughts on, let's say, like, fucking Lil Yachty, right, versus the Migos?
So that's an interesting matchup. Well, one, you have one person speaking nonsense, and then you have a group of people speaking nonsense. So obviously the group is going to outperform the one person because they have the bodies.
Yeah, they're 3 times the nonsense.
Yeah. I've never fucked with auto-tune. And it's nothing. It's not like 808 to Heartbreaks. Fucking hate it. And I don't understand. I can't put a pin on it. I just don't like the auto-tune.
I've used autotune a few times in my ways, but it's because I'm horrible at singing and I can never find someone to fucking sing. And I get great ideas. I'm like, oh, this would be great. And it's like, I look for a while, like, who's going to sing this? And then there's just nobody. So I'm like, well, you know what? Who's singing it? Me. Yeah, and I suck. So here's a little autotune. You're welcome. I don't use it because that's my whole thing. You know what I'm saying? These artists are using autotune like the whole fucking time. That you meet them in person, they're like, on their fucking song. And you meet them in person, they're like, no, that's not my name. Hey. And you're like, what the fuck? That don't sound, who the hell are you? You know? But I mean, lyrical content, Lil Yachty has none. When you look at Migos, at least some of them are trying a little harder to say something than Yachty is. But I think the culture is so different now. It's like it's just convoluted, bro. You know, it's just like so like wishy-washy, and you never know where it's gonna go or where it's coming from, and what they're gonna be fucking talking about. You know, they're gonna be talking about drugs and lean and probably like, you know, the trend thing and whatever else, but they don't have any real content or substance behind it. And that's something that kind of turns me off. But I mean, there are some good artists that are out there. I think Logic is okay for being a newer rapper or whatever, and obviously like J. Cole, Kendrick. I mean, these guys are great because they were able to kind of take the old and mix it with the new, rather than just come out and try to be like a whole nother genre. You know, they kind of try to stay true to the roots or whatever of the hip hop genre.
Paying attention to people like Logic and J. Cole and Lil Wayne and other people who are still relevant, who didn't have anything in the 90s is important. They're torchbearers. They're carrying what hip hop was and bringing it to where we are. Guru said something that I say probably every day. It's the same formula, we just update it, and that's not only is that what Gangstar did from 1989 to 1999 to stay relevant. It's the same formula, and it's updated. You listen to Nas, and even though it's 2020, like this. Even though it's 2020 and you drop an album in 2020 as Nas, you can still tell that this is a Nas body of work because it's the same formula. We're just updating it to meet the times.
Yeah, I feel you.
As far as straight mumble shit, I don't fuck with it.
Like motherfucking who was that guy? Designer.
No,
Designer's freestyles is just like he's like saying words that don't even exist.
It's
like
it's nonsense. I saw this clip of Designer freestyling, and the caption was, I bet Designer's parents are happy for his first words whenever he says them.
Yeah, I saw him. Was it freestyling with Funk Flex? I think, and they usually go, you know, from the dude who's rapping over to Funk Flex to the dude who's rapping. Well, he was rapping. And he went over to Funk Flex, and he wasn't even like moving his head. He was like bewildered, like what the? He was like,
"How'd this guy get in my studio?"
Yeah, and it was just like he freestyled for like 14 seconds and was like, "All right," and it was just like he said absolutely nothing. And I saw another crazy one with Iggy Azalea when she was just freestyling on the stage, making up words and shit.
Garbage.
That fucking trash, dude. Trash.
I wonder if opportunities like that are more beneficial to like Funk Flex, or if they're beneficial to the artist, because we have situations like Genius Breakdown where these fucking tracks aren't even coherent enough to want to break down. You know?
I know, yeah.
And
they're not even on there.
And I wonder if Genius is like, hey, come on the show, or these artists are like, hey, I got this piece of trash, but it's popping right now. Let me throw you a couple bucks, and I'll come on the show. You know.
It's probably the latter.
Yeah. So Designer is complete fucking garbage, and he has no business freestyling. But why would Funk Flex want him to freestyle? Is it like Designer paid Funk Flex off situation? I don't know, but
you're right. Is it paid promotion?
Is it paid promotion? Because to be on Funk Flex is an amazing opportunity, and
I know.
I imagine that
like,
if you're not as big as Funk Flex, there might be a cost with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he had to have heard it. Like, how does he approve it? Would someone else just put him on? It's like, yo, you heard a design of that one song he did, right? Panda.
Dude, whoever put him on got fired.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, you don't work here anymore. So Nick says Papoose is not talked about, but he needs to be talked about. I do agree, but Papoose has been around for a while. I don't know if I would consider Papoose to be like a new age rapper. I think I was listening to some Papoose like 04. I consider that still like 04 is boom bap to me. So I mean, Papoose kind of stuck around, and he's never really had like breakthrough fucking hits, you know what I'm saying? But he's always been rather consistent with his music. And yeah, freestyling, I'm not sure if he's completely 100% off the top of his head when he freestyles, but everything he ever did on like the Smack DVDs and shit back in the day was always fire or whatever. So, and I seen him on, you know, whenever he freestyles on Funk Flex or whatever else, he's decent. But as far as putting out content that's selling records, I'm not sure that's Papoose's thing. But yeah, I mean, not that it has to be, because you can be dope and you don't have to sell fucking records. If people listen to music to hear dope music, they don't give a fuck if you sold 1 million records or not. The dope music is dope music regardless. Hell yeah. Word. So fuck that discussion about that old new rap shit for now. Let's move on to like what we talked about your projects earlier and, you know, process and everything else like that. But what are like some of your favorite songs or projects that you've put out, or other artists that you've worked with that you've really enjoyed, and what are some of your we already know the most popular song, at least on Spotify, one of my favorite, but like what are your favorite songs that you've done, and favorite people you worked with, so on.
Yeah. The Wait is one of my favorite tracks that I've made off the Eighth Letter project. I had the opportunity to work with Loman, who has done a lot of work with the ST Camp, Terminology, Easy Money, Rex, that squad. That was a crazy opportunity, and I'm thankful for working with him. I know this. I have this friend called Jay Faith. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yep, I remember him from the podcast the other night.
He's 10 years older than me, and it's I'm so fortunate to have somebody who lives so close by that I really look up to. And even though we're kind of at the same level in our career, he's a huge influence for me. I look forward to every moment for working with him. As far as that, I forgot the question.
No, I can help you out there. So you talked about your favorite projects and songs, and we were talking about your favorite people that you've worked with, and you said Jay Faith. Is there anyone else that?
Like I said, Loman was a dope opportunity. I had the opportunity to get a track from Jay Plus, who's another producer from Boston. He is terrific. I definitely want to work with this producer called Obese the Prophet.
Yeah, I heard of that guy.
Never heard of that guy? He's trash.
I heard a few tracks.
Yeah, since 1999.
Every one of them.
Yeah, so what I want to ask, what's your when doing like live shows or performances and shit, what are your thoughts about like rapping over backing vocals?
Nope.
None, not even like over just the hook. If there's a little bit of something on the hook,
if
bit.
I'm on the hook, I'll cut it out. If it's a scratch hook where I'm not, where I'll leave. If it's not my vocals, I'll leave it in when I'm performing. I think performing.
But so when the hook comes in when you're performing, you're doing it all with all the gusto that the hook comes with. Boom, right out the gate.
If it's my hook, yeah. If it's a scratch hook, I'm leaving the scratches and the other people's vocals in.
True performer.
I personally believe that authenticity, especially on stage, especially as an MC, will help cultivate the crowd and make you a better performer.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I do understand why some people do it, and I've learned more and more and gained a little bit more insight. I mentioned before that I record and mix and master and write all my own shit. And my lyrics are ingrained in my fucking brain. Before I even record a track, I got it memorized. And then I record it. I'm running through it like 50 times trying to record it. And then I'm mix and mastering it like 100 times. And by then, I can't fucking go to sleep because I can't fucking stop thinking about this shit. And when I was sending my tracks out to get mixed and mastered and got them back, like I said, it's like it wasn't my own song. And a lot of people aren't as diverse in expertise as I am. So they'll get tracks back and they'll be like, well, shit, I don't know this. I haven't rehearsed. I don't know this shit. I'll just rap over it. And then there are some people that are just a little lazy. There are some people that make hype music and just want to ad lib the whole time. And I get it. But if you're a lyricist, if you're proficient in wordplay and shit like that, there's no reason why you should be rapping over your vocals.
Yeah. You don't want to muddy things up.
No, especially if you're in an undesired sort of sound location. Like the sound's not good. If it's like 100% bass. If you're rapping over the vocals, I probably can't understand what you're saying. But in the end, that might not matter because of the type of music you make.
Right.
Right. Some people it doesn't matter, and I always ask the artists, and I leave it up to them. If it was up to me, I would do no backing vocals. But there have been times where people are like, leave the ad libs on the whole song. You know what I'm saying? And I'll rap the regular shit. And I'm like, cool. I'll leave it up to you. You want me to bring in the levels of the ad libs down? You want to leave them? Like, it's up to the artist. But me personally, I'm with you on that. I think that You know, it just muddies it up because when you're doing it live versus when you've recorded it, it's always going to be different. It's never going to be exactly the same as in the studio. And I think that aspect of it, is what makes it personal for whoever's there for the show or whatever, So like you're making it a once and like a unique experience for them by doing it without the backing vocals on there. And you should just do it that way. Because I mean, if White Snake's not coming out with backing vocals on their shit, they're just coming out and doing it.
Yep. No, I completely agree with that. If you're not confident enough in your own shit to perform it without backing vocals, don't perform it.
Yeah.
And I know people who perform and the vocals of their backing is so loud that you can't even hear what they're actually saying.
Mm-hmm.
And
sound guys are like, what the fuck is this?
Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, I don't know, man.
He's like, I'm not a fucking producer. I'm just running the sounds here, guy.
Yep. So I threw 20 shows since last January. And the first few up until March, up until about the pandemic started, which had nothing to do with this decision, I instituted a no backing vocal policy. Our shows are 100% free. We just ask that you leave the backing vocals at home. And while I think that at the time that was a good choice, I feel like making artists perform a certain way is just as bad as paying them or telling them what tracks to play or making them rap non-explicitly. It's just the artist needs room to grow, room to learn. And if they learn, and I've had artists come up to me who have performed with backing vocals and then saw me perform and they were like, well, damn, I mean, I definitely see the merit in doing that. I'm going to do that now. And if they're just forced to do it, they might not even come to the show. I've learned to pave the path for artists to make their own mistakes and learn from them.
Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah, for sure, dude. Hell yeah.
Sean Christian wants to know what is this about? This is about aliens or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we were talking about 9/11 or something. But yeah, speaking of that, let's get into something here that's kind of along those lines. It's like a random discussion time. So like, do you have any, like, from your whole life doing shows, performing, doing anything along the lines, do you have any like legendary stories of like crazy shit that's happened to you while doing any of that stuff that's just like off the wall that people would be like, what the fuck, that, anything like that?
So I met this person named Chris Hayes. He runs something called New England Mixtapes. And basically he thinks he invented the hip hop show and is very mad at me because I am also throwing hip hop shows. Apparently he has a patent pending on all performances, so I'm not allowed to do them. So I retreat, and I'm sorry for what I've done. No, but on the real, I've met a lot of stupid fucking people. I've had this one person try to tell me like what songs I could perform, and at that point I was like, just go fuck yourself, man. Just last week I had somebody wanted me to perform at their show, but I needed to get a COVID test, and it needed to be within a specific point of time, and there was going to be like 3 people in the building total, and I was like, no, like I'm not. I'd understand if like it was like a group of people, but
might as well stay home for that.
Might as well stay home. Yeah. The weirdest thing, not the weirdest thing, but I think the most saddest thing that's happened to me is on my way home from a show, I went to the gas station and I was trying to go into the gas station to pay for the pump, and the cashier was just overdosed on heroin. It was not a fun time, but that's kind of the sad reality of Boston, Massachusetts, that there are things like that.
Well, all of New England is facing those problems right now, for sure. What about you, Justin? Any legendary stories from back in the day maybe I might have been involved in you can think of you might want to discuss?
Oh, Jesus. My memory's not as sharp as it used to be.
I know there was a pretty crazy story from, you weren't involved in it, Justin, but I think it was about 2007. We had Poverty and some other artists were doing a show in Portland at a billiards place of all places. But I mean, it was a pretty decent place by the Greyhound station down in Portland by Margaritas.
Yep.
They were doing a show there, and Killer Priest was the main act. And I remember he was at Margaritas, and he hit up Chip Sullivan, who was my manager at the time. And Chip was putting the show on. He's like, yeah, I'm over here at this place, Margaritas. I'm getting a drink at the bar. So Chip's like, Killer Priest is at Margaritas in the bar. He wants us to go meet him prior to the show. So I'm like fucking pumped, right? And I'm like, 22 years old, whatever. So I'm like, let's go. Boom, go over there. And he's there. And I'm like starstruck. You know what I'm saying? I had no words. I couldn't even focus on getting even like a greeting out, because the whole time I'm thinking in my fucking head, like, this is the man who was on Basic Instructions before leaving Earth, which is like one of my top 5 all-time songs. I mean, when that came out, I had it on cassette, the Jizza album, and I just fucking played it on repeat so much that it stretched out and fucking didn't sound right because I played it so much. So when I couldn't get the lyrics from Basic Instructions before leaving Earth out of my fucking head, right? They're just going through my head as I'm staring him in the face trying to do my introduction, and finally get it out like, hey, I'm Ryan, like I make beats and this and that. And he was just mad cool. He's like, oh, word. He's like, word. And he's like, you want a drink? And bought me a fucking drink, So we're drinking, we're hanging out, and I couldn't say anything else. So when we get over, we do the show. I just keep fucking drinking. I was inebriated by the end of the show. He ends up coming to the studio that we had out on Warren Ave and just fucking partying with us, dude, all fucking night till like 4:00 in the morning. And I got blackout drunk. I mean, not blackout, but I just passed out. We're like done. People leave the studio and I'm there sleeping because I pretty much lived there anyway. And I remember, I think I got a picture up on my Facebook from years ago, all of us in the studio, Killer Priest and them. That was like one of my craziest stories. Just being so starstruck over it because this artist, like Killer Priest, dude,
somebody you listen to for years and years. Yeah,
you never think you're gonna like run into them at any point in time. And then when he told me that the show, Paul was opening for Killer Priest, it was like since I knew for the 3 weeks prior to knowing about the show, I was like, what am I gonna say to him? And then when I get there, it's just like, I'm Ryan, fucking drunk, like, and he's just like, this guy. He probably thought I was a fucking weirdo, you know what I'm saying? But the funny thing is I did add him on Instagram a couple of years back, and I messaged him about and commented on a post about when he did that show, and he remembered. He remembered the show, remembered Margaritas, remembered all the weird. He called us weird white guys. He said, "Nah, we were good people or whatever." But that for me was like a pretty I don't know if it was like a crazy time, but it's just something that sticks out for me as far as when I was, since I was making music and shit. But Hero, what's your thoughts on weed, legal weed?
Fucking why not?
Right.
Why not? I mean, it's caffeine is the most addictive. Caffeine is the worst drug in the world. That's not true. Yeah. But it's pretty bad. And Dunkin' Donuts makes probably $1 million a day.
Yeah, obviously.
Cigarettes and nicotine are legal,
area,
right?
Is there any dispensaries nearby where you're at?
I don't know that. I don't smoke weed. I've been sober for a while. So weed and edibles and CBD and shit, it's not even on my radar. I'm not the right person to ask for that. Weed makes me super anxious, and I'm already anxious enough, so I do not do that anymore. But weed should be federally legal for everybody. I mean,
right?
It's fucking weed.
Yeah, and if it could help you, it could help you. But like in cases like yours, and I know plenty of people who have the same thing. They smoked weed at one point, and it just like they couldn't handle it anymore. Too much anxiety. My brother's the same fucking way. He used to love weed, and then all of a sudden he's like, I don't even smoke anymore. I'm like, But yeah, I mean, it works for people and it doesn't work for people, and I mean, it doesn't really hurt anybody, so why not, right?
Yeah. Right.
Hell yeah. All right. So
what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? We're gonna fucking fall asleep.
Fall asleep. You're gonna fucking eat too much Taco Bell.
Well, just think about all those people that are incarcerated over minor shit.
Yeah, every single drug in Oregon is now is decriminalized. Like you, but everybody in jail in Oregon who's in jail for possession of criminal drugs is there for however long their sentences.
Right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. It makes no fucking sense at all. That's just totally a travesty too. The private prison system is a joke.
You can go to fucking Oregon and make a peanut butter and crack sandwich, and it's all good.
Yeah, it'd be
Tyrone Wiggins.
Yeah, Tyrone Wiggins. But yeah, so let's talk about what releases that you have that are like finished or near to being finished that you got coming out soon. You want to let us know what you got coming out?
Yeah. So 2021, I'm hoping it's just a year filled with music. I'm not as far along as I'd like to be, but I mean, who really is? It's just kind of
right.
It's just kind of a take your time, and when it's perfect. I mean, I wanted the 8th letter out in March of last year, and it came out in November, and it's just a matter of cultivating something until it's perfect. And if it's not perfect, wait till it's perfect. I'm hoping to have a new single out called "Fucking Boston" this month. I wanted it out last month, and it's ready, but I'm gonna get it out soon. I don't have a release date, but that's what's coming up next. That song will be produced by this producer called Wax 100, who is an overseas guy, but he's got some of the coolest boom bap beats I've ever heard. And
hell yeah,
we do have a project coming out, hopefully shortly after the single called Polyvinyl Chloride, which Lee Giles did the artwork for the single and the album.
Shout out Lee Giles.
He's a fantastic guy. I love Lee Giles.
Super talented.
Besides that, me and Jay Faith are working on a project all produced by J Plus, which I mentioned produced a track off my last project. He's a dope guy, lives in Stoneham. There's a ton of people and a ton of producers that I want to work with. I'm not interested in the single game right now. That's why I can't get one beat from Obese. I need like a project's worth. It's
right.
I want
to make a whole project.
I like creating these musical novels, and that's what it's always been for me from albums. And I just want to create. And this year is going to be a big year of creation. I mean, we already have 5 weekly Bars Over Bar shows. This is one of them. And there's just going to be more and more and more, and it's going to be content over content.
Yeah, and I know that now that we're integrated, like everybody is working together too. I know that me and you are going to work together. I know that me and Libsy are working together, and I'm going to be continuing to work with all the Bars Over Bars guys, and hopefully getting more people to work with everybody too from Maine. We can start just kind of meshing everything together and seeing if we can't network this thing to be a lot bigger. For sure.
The best part about having you on board is that not only do you know a lot about Maine, which I don't know shit about, but you have a terrific fucking work ethic, and you just want to create. And the hardest part about doing Bars Over Bars pretty much by myself for the first year was that I don't know shit about anything that isn't outside of Boston. I mean, I know someplace. I know about a few pockets in Massachusetts, but even Massachusetts is a big ass state when you think about it, and there are different cultures. And to have somebody in Southern Mass like Libsy, and then to have somebody in Northern Maine like you, to have Paranoa who lives in New Hampshire, I just want to work with people who can tell me about certain things, and we can just get connections on connections on connections and move forward.
Hell yeah.
The whole fucking country.
Hell yeah, that's true, man. I appreciate that. I do just want to create things. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I just want to put it all out there. So that's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, definitely looking forward to building this whole thing, and hopefully we get better and better at it as we go on. So but yeah, we already talked about that. All right, so I mean, if there's anything else here in the questions anybody has, let us know right now. We're kind of gonna get close to wrapping up here. If this would be the point where I would discuss any new releases that might have come out this past Friday. I know for mainstream artists, as far as what I was checking out was, I mean, mainstream, but I mean, Atmosphere dropped a new single on Friday, which was pretty dope. The God's Bathroom Floor.
I was gonna talk about that. That was the 25th anniversary of that song.
Yeah,
if you can believe that.
Yeah, I know.
Which is crazy to think that we've been listening to these guys for 25 years, just about. You know,
Hero, you listen to Atmosphere, right? Listen to Atmosphere.
I dabble.
Okay.
There is
God Loves Ugly. Great album. You ever heard it?
Yes.
Okay, that's just one of my favorites that he did. Lucy Ford was a great album as well.
Lucy Ford, man. Yeah.
Those two really stand out for me, but just to have the reminder with the release or whatever about what he was doing back then, just like his producer Ant, dude, it's just he was like, it was just so unique, his fucking sound, bro. And I think that he was making beats for other people too, but when you put him and Slug together, it was just like peanut butter and jelly, you know what I'm saying? Like everything they seemed to do was like a vibe,
just matched up.
Yeah, and it was like perfect the way that it worked out. And that God Loves Ugly album was great. I thought that was like, you put me onto that shit too. I wasn't even a fan of that until you started listening and showing me all of his shit. But I think
started with that fucking song, God's Bathroom Floor.
Yeah, for sure, bro. But yeah, I mean, other than that, we usually towards the end here, if we got any questions, I'm trying to see right here.
Yeah, there's just so much music that comes out, not only from mainstream big guys, but just every day, just people are dropping shit, especially the local guys, and I feel bad because not only do I not know about it, but I can't listen to all of it, you know?
Right. It's a ton of it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a ton of it. Like I dropped a single Friday. Who else? Libsy dropped one Friday. Yeah. So I mean, it's like we could just fucking be going on every week probably with drops.
I encourage anybody who drops anything to please send it over to me or the Bars Over Bars page. Just please leave a little context. Don't just drop a link. I find that very annoying. Just like drop the link and tell
us what it is.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, about the song. Like this is that, this is this and that. You know, give it a listen. Tell me what you think. If you just send me a link, I just delete them. It's nothing personal. I feel annoyed.
That's common practice though in the field that you're in. Like if you just send an unsolicited link to something, it's probably not going to get checked out. But just give us a little something like, "Hey, my name is this, and you know, I'm trying to promote this. Want to help me out?" Something, just anything. But yeah, if you want to try and attempt to do a song, Hero, if you want to do a little song for us, we can do that.
Did you want to take a smoke break?
Because
if I can find an aux cord, I can do it, and I know I have one somewhere. I just
we can do a smoke break. If anybody who's watching wants to maybe bring up a topic or something, we could even talk about something. Justin, if you got something on your mind that you haven't mentioned yet, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Let's see.
You might have some notes there or whatever. Let's see what we got.
Oh, yeah, I heard this this story. Actually, it was last night, and it was in Worcester, down here in Mass. Some guy, I don't know how he got on the news, but some guy fell asleep. Typically, you know, he's got the AirPods in when he goes to sleep, he said. He woke up the next morning, and, you know, normal morning, woke up, went to take a drink of water, and it wouldn't go down. And he was like, what? Like literally like turn himself upside down for it to come back out of his mouth into the sink or whatever. Turns out he goes to the emergency room. He had swallowed one of his AirPods. So he's on the news like, yeah, don't go to sleep with your AirPods in because you never know where they're going to end up. So I thought that was fucked up because I know a lot of people, you know, tons of like calming apps and, you know, soothing sounds so you can sleep. So a lot of people might, you know, pop in the AirPods, fall asleep. Just be aware that they could end up in your throat. So I thought that was an interesting story.
That's pretty scary, dude. Like, I mean, that worse things could have happened for that guy. I mean, wake up like that and fucking, you know, you got to deal with that. That's automatically like a wake up call. Like seriously, use a Bluetooth speaker, people, or an over the ears, over the head,
right?
Fucking headphones. But
thought that was crazy. That was something I stumbled across last night. I was like, what the hell, really?
Crazy, dude. I do want to bring up that I do want to mention that this whole podcast is presented to you guys today by mpcstuff.com. I use MPC Stuff for anything MPC related, which you can see here in the background. I got an MPC 2500 and it's got custom red pads. It's got fully upgraded 120 megabytes of RAM. It has CD burner drive, all of which these things I've got from mpcstuff.com. I bought with my own money because I trust this company. Now I'm going to get some upgrades, I think, for this thing, some new knobs and some extra fat pads for this thing pretty soon. So hopefully we'll be all set with that, and we'll be displaying that and showing everybody when that does come in. But yeah, I do want to mention that it's brought to you by them, and now I'm going to take a dab.
Yeah, if anybody's got any questions for us, for Hero, throw them in the chat. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Obese doing his live beats, you got to check them out. How often do you put those out? Do you do that weekly? Do you do that like whenever it hits your,
Yeah, I wish I could do it weekly. I wish I could do it weekly, but I'm really busy, so a lot of times I just do it when I can. I squeeze something in, I record it, then I'll put it up. But it's usually pretty planned out. I'm gonna do it live, but it's planned out as far as like the samples and shit. I kind of know where it's gonna go, right? And I kind of got it lined up, and then I, just kind of let the drums come out when I'm live. It's really when I do those videos, it's more practice, because when I'm actually making a beat, it's a lot of looping and shit like that. But when I've got my beats loaded up on the MPC and I do a live show, when I got the MPC, I play the drums along with it, and I cut the drops out whenever I feel like it and bring it back. And so it is practice for that. But as far as like practicality, when I'm making a beat, it doesn't really go like that. It does while I'm making the parts, but that's only like 4 bars, 8 bars at a time, and then it's looped back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it is really fun, and it, like I said, it really helps me practice for when I actually need to do it in front of other people.
You ever got inspired off one of those and been like,
"Oh yeah,
I like how that sounds. I'm gonna make this like a beat now."
Mm-hmm. And I've used samples I've already made beats with too, to do the live things with, because I know it. I know it, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people talk about I am now listening to a Prophet beat. It's stuck in my head. Yeah. When I came up with that idea because I had before used tags on my beats before I had kids, and then when I had kids and they started becoming interested in it, I was just like coming up with ideas. What could I have them say? And one day I'm like, hey, you want to record something to put it on my beats? And they're like, yes. And so then when I do my publishing and all my other stuff, like I credit them on everything that I do now because they're on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so hopefully if I ever get famous or ever make a lot of money from this, maybe they'll get like $10.
You already
oh shit. I don't know if anybody's got the Super Bowl on, but there's a guy running across the field right now.
Fuck!
Oh my god, he ran across the field.
Yeah. They're not showing him, but they just had the teams like lining up to snap the ball, and this guy ran across.
Oh wow, he's like, I got COVID.
Yeah, now they're showing Brady and
apparently I do not own an aux cord.
Dang.
That's normally how it goes when you need something, right?
Yeah, it obviously is.
But now
you could share that screen, and maybe that'll play that beat or whatever.
I think the latency is gonna be a little off.
Word.
But next time, definitely. Now that I know what to do, and now that we know what to do for the future, we can do it every single time.
Right. So we had planned on having Hero perform, but he's not. Instead, do you want to play a music video or a song that maybe is your favorite for everybody who's listening to check out?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Word. Let's hear something, even if maybe it's something that's not released. I don't know if you want to do that, but anything.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Let somebody hear something.
Let somebody hear something.
Let me hear somebody motherfucking hear something.
Let me pull up my drive. and then I'll load in the song I have coming out hopefully soon.
Word. It's also a good time to mention that this podcast is sponsored also by I Regret Nothing Clothing out of Maine. They're a great Black-owned Maine company. They're going to be sending us a couple of things here soon. So when we get them, we'll obviously be wearing that and stuff. So shout out to them. They make really great shit and they support a really great cause. They donate their money to things and they're involved in the community, which is great. Yeah,
that's good to hear. I'm glad that we're getting all these sponsors. I've secured a few for Check the Recipe. And I'm just looking forward to like the one hand washes thing. And if they're even willing to send us shirts and shit, I love shirts. That's my like when I play shows, I just like buying shirts.
If you believe in the company too, you use them before or their whole vision and message is great. It's easy to get behind them too.
For sure.
And it's I'm never going to sponsor anything I don't believe in. I think that's important. I know not everyone is like that, but that's just me personally.
Yeah.
Dollar Shave Club. I don't shave, so I don't really.
Shaving. What the fuck is that?
So
overrated.
This is the track I have coming out hopefully soon called Fucking Boston. It's produced by Wax 100. I performed it a few times, but it's never been it hasn't been heard by the masses. On this extent. So I'm gonna play it, and then do you want me to just mute everybody?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. You guys hear that?
No.
Okay, I didn't share the audio. My bad.
It's a live show, people.
It's a live show. Yes, it is.
Things happen.
It's live.
Important. It's that little fucking tiny ass share the audio box. It's so small.
Hell yeah.
UFC now in y'all city, it might have originated right here in Boston.
I'm fucking Boston. Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. Check where I'm from. Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though. Boston. Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though.
I'm from the Roxbury where the murder is courteous and they'll shoot you 9 times just for knowing the Curtis. Don't give a fuck about your sense, whether it's 2 or 50. Crews stay together like reunions at Disney. What's history's in the past, but I never will forget being from a city where the currency is still respect. And as I say it, the hero cutting the biggest check. For the Neros, a ton of zeros with commas left. A rock's tail on these mean streets, none of my friends eat. One eye open, how I get sleep. Tempt me never, these fiends wanna empty me. In a deep grave filled with envy, yeah. You don't gotta like me, son, because I tell it how it is and you tell it how it might be done. So I can stare down the barrel of a gun and still fucking pronounce that I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston.
Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. Check where I'm from. Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though. Boston. Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston.
Check it.
Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though.
I'm from the Roxbury, the berry, but not the fruit, y'all. The way I'm spitting reflect the living is brutal. Take it back, way back to the grapes of wrath. When the splash hit the page, call it ancient raps. Pacing back and forth through my city, I can't pity myself. Don't answer to no one else. If there's a pamphlet on how to run your mouth, you read it like 10 damn times. I can't keep count. I got dreams bigger than shook. Been a G like Edo or like Fredo. Been a Don, call me Corleone. More than half of the shit in my zone, fully owned. I'm so worried that if I leave, it'll surely close. The bricks here get laid in the sun by hard workers who get paid by the pain in their guts. And if I stare down the barrel of a gun, I'll always say that I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston.
Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. Check where I'm from. Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though. Boston. Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though. Boston. Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. Check where I'm from. Really got my hook up out in Roxbury though. Boston. Check where I'm from. I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston. really got my hook about that Roxbury though.
Yeah, you don't gotta like me, son, because I tell it how it is and you tell it how it might be done. So I can stare down the barrel of a gun and still fucking pronounce that I love where I'm from. Fucking Boston.
Check where I'm from. I really got my hook about that Roxbury though. Boston.
Yeah.
Yo, shit is dope.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll have that out sometime this month.
Fuck yeah. And that's going to be, is that going on a project? Is that what you were saying?
So this song is going to be the only, I think it's going to be the first and only single from my upcoming project called Polyvinyl Chloride, which is all produced by this overseas producer named Wax 100.
Yeah.
I'm
So
very
pick that
excited.
up, everybody. When that drops too, we want to make sure, because if we're hearing shit like this, then we know that's just going to be fire. And so the cuts, who's doing the cuts on that? Is that just something he did?
Everything he did, he's doing all the cuts, which is a change for me because normally I do all the cuts.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't know is that he does it all with knobs, like on his DJ controller, and he's so fucking good at it that he doesn't know shit about scratching, but it's so clean that I had no idea. Like you wouldn't even tell.
Yeah.
And
sounds good.
The cuts are clean. It's all knobs. It's like slow start. It's like slow stop and start that gives it that like cut effect.
Yep. Yep.
But there's no turntables involved.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know.
No, you wouldn't be able to tell. Shit sounds dope. So, any final shout outs, plugs, as far as what you got coming up? Obviously, we got the shows every week, but we're gonna plug that. But what else you got?
So I run this empire called Bars Over Bars. Obese the Prophet is part of it. We have a lot of opportunities for artists of all sizes. We truly just want to grow with you, help you grow, and hopefully in return you can help us grow as well. We offer a lot of opportunities, like we'll critique your song and everything is pure. We'll critique your song. We'll have you on the live stream. You can guest. You can perform at one of our shows. You can come on a couple podcasts. Everything for right now and hopefully forever will be completely free for the artists. But we do highly encourage donations.
Yes.
Donations are highly encouraged.
You can cash at me at $ Obese the Prophet. If you want to donate, please help me out. I'm struggling here. No, but for sure, trying to make this shit, get everything out there and let's mesh everything together and hopefully everybody can grow and learn from the whole experience and get better as we do this. And appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Good questions. Felt like we had a good discussion. And just one last time, I do want to shout out mpcstuff.com and I Regret Nothing Clothing for sponsoring the podcast and keeping it real. Anybody have anything else?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right, word. Well, good first episode. Appreciate you coming through, and we'll be back here next Sunday, 8 to 10, to do this podcast. And on Tuesday, we got What's the Beef with Libsy and Cam, right? And Wednesday, we're doing the Bars Over Bars review, critique, whatever you want to call it, show. So submit for that. What's the email that they should send the tracks to for you?
You can send any track to barsoverbarsbookings@gmail.com. But you can DM Bars Over Bars Media on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or whatever.
And you can also email me to obesetheprophet@gmail.com with any tracks or links and stuff. I don't think we can do Spotify, but if you got a YouTube link or an MP3, send it through. We'll definitely try to get it played on Wednesday show and even on Tuesday show if you're down for going head to head with somebody else maybe. And then of course Thursday we have Beats Over Beats, me and Nick Lovin. We'll be featuring someone on there. We're doing some live beat stuff. That's also from 8 to 10-ish on Thursday. And then Friday, you got Check the Recipe, right? Who you got on Check the Recipe this week?
I don't know if I'm gonna do one because we have a live show this Friday at at Crispy King Kicks in Haverhill. So I might do it or I might postpone it. And then next Friday is my girlfriend's birthday, so that's a big no.
Okay.
on-
So,
on
but we'll have the live performance will be on Friday, streaming on Bars Over Bars though instead.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then yeah, we're doing that live show Friday. Catch that. And then of course, I'll be back on Sunday from 8 to 10. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Hero, for being the man and coming on and doing this.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate everything. All right, so peace out, y'all.